Hi guys, thanks for tuning into the channel. My name is Liz and I'm a reseller in Maryland. Today's estate sale started out as a little bit of a disappointment. I didn't wear my GoPro because this sale popped up quite suddenly and I didn't have time to charge it. And I got there and I was thinking it didn't even matter because there was nothing really to film. The house was kind of trashed. The garage was just a travesty, a real mess. And I didn't think I was going to be able to get anything. But I followed my own advice, stuck around, dug around, and I cannot wait to share the treasures I found with you. Let's go check it out.
Okay, so I wasn't planning on recording today. This was, I believe, a Tuesday morning sale that sort of popped up suddenly. I didn't think I was going to be able to go because we were preparing for traveling for the holiday for Thanksgiving. But anyway, I ended up there. It was raining. There were a few pickers already inside, which is par for the course for this particular group of sellers. Uh, Even though I was already like 30 to 45 minutes early, there were already people in there, but it was not the way I expected it to be from the pictures. Um, it was trashy, kind of. There was a lot of damage. There was water damage. There was moisture, dust. The place was a mess. And initially, I'm sure you've had this sinking sensation where you think, I'm not going to find anything here. This was a waste of my time. Uh, what's typical of me is I kind of climb over that sensation and I dig around, and I have a few clips to just show you what the place was like. You can see the damage to this piece and see what I can salvage, because I not only want to, this was not for sale, by the way, this light fixture, which I'll show you another clip of probably. Um, so I not only want to salvage so that I can salvage my time by paying myself for my time. This was also not for sale. Unbelievable. Beautiful light fixture. But I also want to save things from the landfill, because the seller, the company, was already talking about when the dumpsters and the cleaning crew were coming. The light fixtures were not going in the dumpster. They were being conveyed with the house. So anyway, um, I think that you'll be surprised by some of the things that I find, and I will show those to you momentarily. It ended up being much more exciting than I anticipated, and I really hope that you enjoy it and you are inspired when you show up to something that's quite unexpected.
Okay, so I'm going to unpack this stuff from that trashy looking sale. It said mid-century modern furniture, but as you can see in the photos, I think you could tell some of the furniture was really what I would call roached, like it had really been damaged, and the upholstery was ruined in my opinion. I think there must have been a moisture issue. I don't know if it was like a boiler issue, because I didn't see like any like water damage to the walls, like any dripping or any like fallen ceiling tiles. But anyway, I will show you everything after I unpack it. It will be a relatively informal haul in my storage space. Okay, so it is sort of a change in season and it's a little bit windy again, so please pardon that noise and hopefully nothing will tip over. So I was able to rescue this chair, and you know, there was another one that I sort of wish I'd rescued now. The cushions on this were so gross and the guy wanted me to take them. Guys, if I could have salvaged them, I would have. They were not salvageable. Now this piece is farm fresh. It has not been well cared for. You can see the water damage. I mean, that's normal, but it was in a garage that was relatively dry. But anyway, when you put wood oil on these types of things, it's amazing how much better they look. I was part of the big floods in Ellicott City at Antique Depot, which actually escaped almost unscathed. But at one point, I had a piece in the basement that sat in water, 12 inches of water, for about a week to 10 days before we were allowed in. And when I oiled the legs after they had dried, it looked like it had never happened. I mean, anyway, so I don't expect to get the comp on this particular piece. I didn't see a name on it, I don't think. I'll double check on that for you, but we're saving. Hi. Okay, and so this is probably not a big seller, but I do like original signage. So this is a metal sign for an air conditioning company. I have no idea. There's probably not a comp out there, but I thought it was cool. And I was trying to save everything because I think a lot of this stuff was literally going in a dumpster probably tomorrow. It's a little hard to see. Let me move the sign. I don't always buy these, but again, I was trying to salvage not only the trip, but as many items as I could. This will sell in the booth, and if it doesn't sell fast, it's perfect for records. I'd probably call it a magazine rack, but it's great to hold records too. We could even use it at home because my son does have some records. Okay, this is actually, someone made it, like it's a handmade piece. I'm not going to say amateur because I could never do anything like that, but it needs legs. But again, I wanted to rescue this piece, so I did buy this wooden tabletop. It's like a tier. Someone asked me if this was trash. I think she liked it. I don't think she thought it looked like trash. I think she was hopeful. Anyway, this is a like a tiered end table, like tabletop sort of checkerboard. I'll probably get, I'm gonna guess like $30 for it, and someone can put legs on it. Either that, or I'll see if I can get someone to put legs on it for me and sell it in the booth. If I polish it up, give it some nice oil, I think it will do well. And I meant to mention that that magazine rack, the comps are all over the place, anywhere from like 75 online to like a couple hundred depending on the site. You know how that goes. My guess is I'll probably sell it for like 30 on Facebook, 45 in the booth. So I was about to leave and I decided to go back inside. Now the clothing had moisture issues. I don't know what happened in this house. I think maybe the boiler, not exploded, that's the wrong word. Sometimes a boiler can have an issue. Help me out in the comments. And it can expose the whole house to moisture. Anyway, I don't know what drew my eye to this. I don't know if it was the velour, but then I saw the little label. Can you see it? Mercedes-Benz. A Mercedes-Benz velour tracksuit. Who doesn't need one of those? And the comp is crazy. I'll see if I can find some other comps too. I'm gonna do the slatted table or bench last, I think, so that you can see it. I'm gonna move things off of it. I grabbed a stack of license plates, $8 to $10 in the booth. I don't think any of them are real specialty license plates. These wooden lamps were the first things. I apologize for the background, but this is death pile reality over here. I grabbed these lamps. These were the first things I grabbed. I think I paid $50 for these 2 lamps, but then I paid like $75 for everything else. So I just pay what I can pay, and I don't ask too many questions. So this lamp has a cool shade, but the man said the homeowner was on the premises, which is not always advised and can be a little awkward for him or her, and also for buyers. But he was on the premises and he said a family friend had made these lamps. This one's really cool. It's very sculptural, and I actually like the shade too. It's almost like a mushroom type shade. This one was made by the friend as well, and you can actually see, I think, the initials. Is that the date? 1980? I would have guessed that was a little earlier. I got a few pieces of pottery. This one does not appear to have a mark. It maybe it's Mexican black pottery. I don't know. It doesn't look special enough, but I saved it from the landfill. And to me, this looks like fat lava, maybe German. It's a very small little bud vase. I missed it the first time, and I can't even explain why. I might have missed it the first 2 times. I haven't identified the maker, so I don't have an exact comp for that, but fat lava type pottery with that rough texture does tend to do pretty well, I think. This planter does say Italy on the side. I think it says EV16 made in Italy, but I think it was painted after that. Oh yes, it definitely was. It was in a little dish, so I didn't even see. So that may not have a lot of value, but it will sell in the booth because someone will enjoy that sort of 70s, early 80s look to that. And this was a real foil garland. I think somebody, like, this is handmade. See the string? How long does this take someone to make? How do you even do that? I'm not Googling it because I'm not doing that. But that will sell, and I probably should take that home with me and sell it right away, right? Hold on, let me move this stuff to the side. Oops, this is heavier than I thought because it has 2 underplates. This piece I thought was metal, and you should have seen me Mike Wolfing it over a pile to get to it when I first got there. But it's actually carved out of wood. I might have it upside down. I think I had it upside down. Is it a distal fink? Or like a swan? Or maybe it's heron. I think it's supposed to look like a weather vane. I'm sorry, my arm is in the way. I haven't done a haul here and it's tricky. But I need to get this stuff out of my car. Anyway, you know, it has some kind of rough edges, but I think it's a great piece of folk art. I love it. I might have to keep that. Death pile alert. I have so much work to do, but I'm having a great time. Okay, abalone shells. I think you're not allowed to harvest these anymore, but we are still allowed to sell shells in the booth. This one has a chip. I keep one by my sink for my sponges because it makes me feel, it's so much better than like a plastic sponge holder from like Amazon. No offense if you have one. I have plenty of stuff from Amazon, and of course there's plastic in my home, but I like repurposing things to replace something that's going to like sit in the landfill for like 10,000 years. I'd rather use a shell that will degrade naturally. So those lamps, I'm not shipping those. I suppose I could ship that one. This one's way too big. That's gonna go in the booth, but it's probably gonna go in the booth for, I'm gonna say like 150 bucks. Could be more. I'm gonna look up some more comps and get back to you if it's different from that. This one wouldn't be 150. It's a little simpler, but I would still say like 65, 75, because it's really cool. You know, it's a really cool handmade piece from like a, what do they call it? Like a root ball? I think that's what you call it. These I got out of the garage, and I just thought they were really cool to put dried flowers in, or maybe like your paintbrushes. So I got 2 of those. We're in a busy alley. It's dog walking time. And this is Royal Hager. Look at that beautiful glaze. It's like a sunburst or whatever. That's awesome. Love that. And this is, I think, my favorite thing. Well, except for this laptop table. If Google Lens is accurate, this is the Lord's Prayer, like in German. There was a lot of German stuff there. This is a very simple lamp, but it does say made in Sweden on it. Let's see if I can get you a better. It's really tall, but very, very simple. But the base is clearly marked, and it's not in any amateur way. Now, I said I was going to clean off this table, but it's really hard to do with one hand, to be honest. Did I touch upon everything on the table? I think so. So what's neat about this slat top table, and I do think it's a table and not a bench, but I suppose it could be either one. You probably can't tell, but this center section, these slats can move outward to extend it. Maybe it is a bench. Tell me what you think in the comments. I got mixed results when I was Google Lensing it. Oh, I like that verb. So this moves in both directions, and these separate out. So I thought that was really cool. I suppose if it were a table, it would be hard to set your drink on it. If you were tipsy, then your drink would be also tipsy. And that would be bad for your beautiful mid-century carpet or your hardwood floors. So I wanted to share this stuff with you guys right away before I start distributing it to the 4 corners of the world. That doesn't sound right. The world doesn't have corners. Anyway, in all different directions and to different platforms, to show you that even when you show up to an estate sale and you think that it is the dregs and you wasted your time and you just drove 30 miles and you did it for no reason, if you are patient and you take a couple of deep breaths, you can salvage hundreds of dollars of items. You just have to take the time, right? So I hope you go out there and you do just that. You keep looking, right? Never stop searching, that is, because you will find treasure if you do that. I will see you guys next time. So I wanted to share some other things I found, other than the things I showed you in the outdoor portion of this haul. Joey and I, shout out to Joey, we were digging around in this very messy and cluttered garage, and we both found some ephemera, some paper items. I can't wait till Joey shares the things he found with me. And I want to share them with you. So when you find packets of ephemera, it's not all that likely that you're going to find things of extreme value, but it is possible. And for me, it's a record of someone's life. I've always said, you've probably heard me say this before, if you've been with the channel for a while, that I have nostalgia for other people's lives. There's got to be a word for that, right? But anyway, I don't like to throw it away until I think it should be thrown away or it doesn't have any value to anyone. So I wanted to share a sampling of the things that were in there. I noticed these first. These look like World War II era letters. They are, but they are written, I believe, in Estonian. So I can't decipher these. And in the process of going through all these papers, I found out that I believe this man and maybe a sister, I'm not sure if it was his sister or his wife, that they were refugees from Estonia and they had been relocated to Germany. So I did find some German papers as well, a passport and a worker's permit. I don't know the full nature of their relationship to that situation. I didn't even know that Estonians had to be relocated to Germany, but that was to escape the Russians or the Soviet Union invading their country. They were afraid that they were going to come in. So it was interesting to see. This is actually like a paper passport. I didn't include the German papers to be sensitive to some of the viewers who might not appreciate that, but some of those things people do have an appreciation for the history. But my job is not to offend, but only to educate. So I don't know if these have value, but I thought this was a very interesting version of a passport. And it would be cool to know what all these letters say. Sometimes these are firsthand accounts, so these are primary sources. So I'm not saying that we should share personal stuff like who they were in love with or they were leaving their husband or something. I'm thinking that if there's information about that era that people might appreciate learning about, that's why I don't like to toss those things. So I'm not sure what I'll do with those, but I just wanted you to know why I do this. I learned something. I'm sure other people could learn something. And some of the stuff is just really interesting to me. Like these are prescriptions. Excuse me. These are actually prescriptions. I don't understand why they're written like this. Does anyone know why? On these strange pieces of paper. Now you can use Google Translate on some of these things. I don't know if I have the patience. I have a huge stack of letters to do that, but that's how I was able to figure out that these were in fact prescriptions. I've never seen these before. Let me know in the comments if you know anything about that. This particular man, whose name was Herbert, he had like 4 different jobs, according to the paperwork I found, one of which was he worked at a newspaper. I think that's him in the photo with these women. He was also head of a dairy farm. He was a carpenter. He was trained as a mason. I think this might be from one of his jobs. This is a paper Green Spring dairy hat. I don't know. I'm surprised he kept it. It doesn't have a lot of value, 10 or 12 bucks, but dairy stuff in general is worth mentioning because it often does have value. By the way, you can sell, if you want to, packets of letters. People do collect that kind of stuff. I'm sure people craft out of them. I'm sure there are a number of things I don't know about. Just mentioning a sampling of ideas. There were some neat vintage postcards in there. They do have some value. There's some more photos in there. When I see these like tags or labels from vintage things, I always think, how cool would it be if you had that model of television and you had its original tag to return to the piece? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Do people want these? I think they might, but I don't think they have a ton of value, but maybe some. Now, something like this, a booklet that goes with a camera you have, for example, that might have more value if you've bought this camera or you're a collector. Again, I haven't found this exact booklet yet, so I can't give you a comp, but I'll try one more time before I release the video to share that with you. This is a little bit more about like history. So like I was talking about the refugees from Estonia and Germany, this was like an issue slip for the blankets that they received. And this is in 1949. So it was just very interesting to me to get that education and see this person's life and perhaps his sister or his wife, I'm not sure. Apparently at some time they made it to the States, and based on what I heard from the homeowner who was present the day of the sale, the family did very, very well. Whatever they ended up doing, they did very well, and they had very nice things in the home. So that's kind of nice to know that they made it and didn't have to live for very long, hopefully as refugees. By the 50s, they were in the US. So These are stickers. I think they're probably worth $10 a piece based on what I found out. And actually, I think the most valuable thing I found was these Ford receipts for cars that this man bought. You'd be surprised. I'll throw up a comp for a Ford receipt. It's so fascinating to me to see what a car went for at that time. A Mercury convertible coupe, and it says it was used and it sold for $1,700, and that was back in, it looks like 1952. So I found this out years ago when I shopped the estate sale of a Coca-Cola family and found receipts, and that's when I found out that even receipts can have value. I had no idea. So I did want to share this with you because if you're looking around, sometimes you might find things of value that surprise you, but you also might find a way to teach yourself something, to learn about the way people used to live. And I just think that's so fascinating. So that's why I decided to share it with you guys. I love to share things that can make you money, but if you can get an education, if you can get an appreciation for what people have gone through and the life that we currently live, that's valuable too. So remember, guys, you got to go out there, look for these treasures. Sure, make yourself some money, have a good time. Remember, I never would have found this stuff if I hadn't kept looking. So the most important thing is to never stop searching. I will see you guys next time.